So good morning all of you. So as we said that in this lecture we'll be studying about the network software and its different layers, which are according to the ISO OSI reference. So we shall start. So as I said that as the advancement went on, we realized that we don't only need the network hardware, we also need the network software. So the network, so I shall write the topic first. It's the network software. So the network software has different layers that may interact with each other to share the resources or to transfer the data. So the task of each layer is defined according to the reference model. So it has different layers and task of each layer is defined by reference model. Right, so what is this reference model? This reference model is the ISO OSI reference model. So what does ISO stands for? It stands for International Standards Association. And what does OSI stands for? OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. Right, so this is the network software and it has different layers. These layers can interact with each other. So for example, so this is, let's say, your layer 1, this is your layer 2, this is your layer 3, this is your layer 4. So these layers can interact with each other, right? So this is the network software and its different layers. So we will now study about the different layers that we have in the ISO OSI reference model. Right, so the different layers are application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. The data link layer is further subdivided into two sub layers. One is the logical link and second is the MAC. So this is how the layers are divided in the ISO OSI stack. So we'll just study about these layers in brief and just get the idea about what this layer means, right? So the first one is the application layer. Application layer. So what is the application layer, as we say? So application layer is the use of the application layer is to provide the interface to the user, right? So what the application of one machine's application layer of the one machine interacts with the application layer of another machine. So we can say that its use is to provide the interface to the user, right? So the application layer serves as the window for users and application processes to access network services. This layer consists of a variety of commonly needed functions such as resource sharing, remote file access, then we have remote printer access, directory services, etc. So the main use of the application layer is to provide the interface to the user. So actually it is the interface that you interact with and do the things with, right? So this thing is called the application layer. So the second part is the transport layer. So we shall see what is the transport layer. So the transport layer ensures that the messages that are delivered error free, in sequence, and with no losses of duplications, right? So it relieves the higher layer of protocols from any concern with the transfer of data between them and their peers. So you can say that the use of the transport layer is to provide true end-to-end connectivity, and this thing is done by the transport layer. So provide end-to-end connectivity. Transport layer ensures that the messages are delivered error free and without any losses and duplication, right? And in the transport layer, so this is the end to end, it provides the end to end connectivity. So the third layer is the network layer. So what is the network layer? So the main role of the network layer is to provide the addressing. So its responsibility is addressing and and what routing algorithm is to be used for the best outcome for the transfer of the data is to be decided by the network layer. So you can say that its responsibility is addressing control congestion and decide the best routing algorithm. Decide the best routing algorithm, right, which gives the best outcome. Now the fourth layer is the data link layer. Right. Fourth layer is the data link layer, right? So what is the data link layer? So the main use of the data link layer is to provide the error-free transfer of data frames from one node to the other node of the physical layer over the physical layer, right? So you can say that it's responsible for the node to node delivery. So data link layer is responsible for the node to node delivery, right? So what happens in the data link layer is that there are different what you can say is the things that the data link provides. So what does the data link provides? It provides the link establishment between the two nodes, and termination. It establishes and terminates the logical link between the two nodes. You can say establishes and terminates the logical link between two nodes. Its job is also for the frame sequencing, you can say. That means to transmit and receive the frames sequentially. Its job is also frame delimiting. That means it creates and recognizes frame boundaries. Where does the frame end and where does the frame starts? Its job is also frame acknowledgement. Frame acknowledgement acknowledgement to provide and expect the frame acknowledgements. So these are the different functions that the data link layer does. The next layer is the physical layer. Fifth layer is the physical layer. So before this, the data the job of node to node delivery and the job of the frame sequencing and to control the frame delimiting, frame traffic control, this was all the job of the data link layer. Now once the data is received in the data link layer, then the raw transferring of the data for the effective communication is done by the physical layer. So once the data is received by the data link layer, then the raw transferring of the data for the effective communication or communication is the job of physical layer. So here it is pretty easy to see that the examples include telephone lines, right, wireless communication, for which we use the modern wireless communication, right. Next layer is presentation layer. So what is the presentation layer? So presentation layer is the layer that concentrates on the syntax and semantics of the data, right. So it concentrates on the syntax and semantics of the data. Presentation layer formats the data to be presented to the application layer. So it can be viewed as the translator for the network, right. So the next layer is, the final layer is session layer. So what is the session layer? So session layer creates the sessions between the two communications. So session layer creates the session between two nodes for the communication. Communication, right. So its job is to allow synchronization and syncing. Its job is to allow synchronization right? So this was the brief about all the 7 layers in the ISO OSI stack. In the next session we'll be studying about these layers a bit more, and how these layers interact with each other, and how the data is transferred through and from these layers. So thank you.